To many of you, I'm known as Chief Williams, some Mr. Williams, to others, Reverend Williams, to some the spin master, the spinning instructor. And just to let you all know, I'm going to be a little bit all those people. So I just ask you all to just relax, relate, and just get with this program, okay? Now, a couple of things I want you all to do. If I say something that really just resonates within you, I want you to say one of three things. If I say something that really just, I want you to say, show enough. That's what my grandmother used to say, show enough. That means sure enough. Some of you. If I say something that's like, got a point, just nod your head or hit the person next to you. He's talking about something. But if you're not that demonstrative, just breathe. And I know you're trekking with me, all right? As you heard from this morning's presentations, Air Mobility Command and the JAG Corps, we're faced with a lot of challenges. A lot of challenges. And it's going to take all of us, to face these challenges head on. Oftentimes when an organization succeeds or fails, they say it's a leadership issue. They succeeded because leadership was great, or they failed because leadership was poor. Personally, I believe that when the organization succeeds or fails, it's a combination of leadership and followership. Leadership and followership. For many years, many decades, we've become so fixated on the discussion on the topic of leadership. Organizations spend thousands of dollars training a fraction of its employees on critical leadership skills. And sometimes they will barely mention, if at all, followership development. My question is, why is this? Especially when we belong to an organization or an institution that conforms to a hierarchical organizational model. By definition, most of us in the military, we fulfill a follower role more so than a leader role, by definition. With this being the case, why do we become so fixated on just focusing on leadership? It's something about the title that intrigues us. Something about being called a leader that makes us stand up with our shoulders back, our heads held high. But the truth of the matter is, we fulfill both roles simultaneously. The followership role is just as vital, just as critical as being a leader. The former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Colin Powell, he said, leadership is all about followership. You aren't really a leader if no one is willing to follow you. He said, that's not rocket science, but in this day and age, in this society where people crave titles and status, we have a tendency to forget that little fact. Just push it aside. Leadership and followership. I believe that in order for us really to accomplish the mission of our organizations, we have to come together, we have to recognize that we have two roles that we serve. We fulfill them simultaneously. And I have a little acronym that I like to use to drive home this point on followership. It's called TKO. TKO. TKO, not technical knockout, but the TKO. To understand your role as a leader, as a follower, first and foremost, the T stands for take a good look within. The K stands for know your role. And the O stands for operate as one team. I think one of the reasons why we have a struggle with this term follower is because of the ego. What I want you to do, the person that's sitting next to you, look at them, just touch them. So you know you got an ego. We all have egos. We all have a healthy opinion of ourselves. You know, goodness about being a JAG Corps, you have to have a strong opinion of yourself. That's a prerequisite. It's on the application. Do you love yourself? Yes. It's all right to have an ego. But listen, an overinflated ego is to a team what a lit match is to a forest. Now, once we come to the understanding of who we are as a person, what makes me tick, my background, all my baggage, all my issues, putting them all on the table and just looking at these things, now I can understand. I have two roles here. My role as a leader, my role as a follower. So that's very important. Got to take a look within. This is the K. Know your role. Let's talk about first and foremost. Followership. It's simply a role that we all function in one point or another. How many of us are married, men? We know we follow our wives. That's when you're supposed to say amen.
Amen.
Thank you, brother.
Blow it out, blow it out.
And women, you're supposed to say, show up. There you go. Change roles. But there's such a negative stereotype to the term follower that that's why we have a problem doing it. Even though we do it quite often. That's a very important role. Robert E. Kelly. He's also a social scientist in the area of fellowship studies. He did he wrote an article, first and foremost. It was called In Praise of Followers, that appeared in one of the Harvard reviews. And it drew a lot of positive feedback and criticism. Because what he did, he brought to the forefront the often overlooked aspects of followership. He said, we spend so much time talking about leadership, but the most important piece to leadership is followership. And during his study, he said, there's certain characteristics that followers possess. And he based it on two categories. First, the way they think, critical thinking, or they lack critical thinking, and the way they engage, whether or not they were energetically engaged, actively engaged. And based on these two criteria, he formed a typology. For example, the first one is the passive follower. This is the person that just tell me which one they do. They do it, that's it. We have the alienated follower. Many of you may be able to relate to this. Critical thinker, analytical thinker, but they lack engagement. They sit back like this. I know the answer, but they made me mad. And I'm just going to watch them fall on their face. Finally, there's the exemplary follower or effective follower. This is the individual who has great critical thinking skills, analytical thinking skills, positive, high-octane, energetic. If something's going wrong, they'll let the boss know. If there's a problem, then here's a problem, but I have a solution for you. Exemplary followership. I talked about the leader-follower partnership. In order for it to work, there must be effective leadership and effective followership, or exemplary followership. That's what's important. Whether you're leading or not, you still have to be effective in what you do, whatever role you serve in. The exemplary follower is the one who takes the initiative, the one who's also vision-minded, who sees the big picture and can participate in change. If something's going wrong in the organization, they don't join the battle. They say, no, no, no. We can't tolerate that type of divisiveness. They don't join in with gossip and things. They support the leader. And again, if the leader is doing something wrong, they'll let the leader know. They're not afraid to. Exemplary followership. Now, given that, what type of follower are you?